So today I'm going to be chopping down my gigantic alocasia longoloba. I have had it for about a year. I bought it from Home Depot. It has always been quite tall, but lately it's outgrown its space and it's just not enjoying life. It's too close to the light. You can see that it's starting to get discoloration on the leaves. Normally it has 3 or 4 leaves. That's how I know it's not happy. It just shot out a bunch of inflorescences. It's got all this stalk down here. It's just not loving life. So I am going to chop it down. I'm going to probably cut it here, reroot this section. I'm going to chop these into chunks, and then I'm going to chop the roots down in this pot and downsize the pot and grow that chunk out into a new plant. So I'm going to have a bunch of plants from this. Let's get started. So take this. Just gonna do this. There we go. There's nothing bracing the stem, so I don't want it to just fucking snap. Okay. Well, we're gonna make a mess, and that is exactly why I laid all this down and moved those out of the way. And all I'm gonna do is just gently jostle it out. Some nice roots. But, it's in too big of a pot. I know that, because I wanted to try and have a big pot to cover this fucking stem to stabilize it. That idea didn't work out too good. Not been loving life in this pot. It's way too big of a pot. I know that. Let's get started, I guess. Normally, when I am doing stuff with repotting and roots, ooh. Like, look at these. These are roots. They're just coming right off. They're fucking rotted. No good. No good. Look at that. No good. No good. Oh, no. It did have good roots. Honestly, what I think happened, to be honest with you, because there's too much soil in here, and I like to let my plants dry out between waterings a little bit, what I actually am betting happened is that it got too dry and these roots desiccated, and then when they got rehydrated, they rotted. That is exactly what it looks like fucking happened here, to be honest with you. That's exactly what it looks like. So that's unfortunate. That is some of the actual dangers of underwatering. I actually was wanting to make a video about that because everyone always tells you how bad it is to overwater, and it is, but nobody talks about underwatering and how bad it can actually fuck you up. Yes, it's easier to come back from, but it still has its issues. You really want to find the balance is what I'm learning in my tenure of plant care. These aren't bad, I don't think. I don't want to get rid of them. We'll see. But yeah, you can see there's way more dirt in here than it needed. Way more than it needed. It doesn't smell. It's just unfortunate because it did have a beautiful root system. It was doing good. There you go. Well, I'm gonna take this big old beast just like this, and I'm gonna be right there. Oh my god. Okay. Just want to get it to some clear ground and really assess what we're dealing with here. Look at this root system. It's not good. And then look at all this excess soil. I definitely think there was overwatering and underwatering here to be the culprit, but that is exactly why we're here today, to fix this, because my plant, this is my first alocasia that actually started thriving. This is my 2nd or 3rd. I started with dragon scale. That was terrible decision. Went to black velvet and got that figured out. I was pretty happy with myself there. And then one day I saw this guy at Home Depot and I said, I gotta have that plant. He was huge, he's beautiful. I loved it. It was the easiest alocasia I've ever had. It got me interested in trying again with some more alocasias. It started it for me. So I noticed that it's been growing a lot. It's getting too tall. It's not living its best life. It's thrown out like 6 inflorescences at this point, back to back to back to back. It's down to 2 leaves. Normally, like I said, it has 3 or 4. It's just not happy, right? Like, it's obviously stressed out because too big a pot, underwatering, overwatering, not enough, too much light because it's not in a spot that it wants to be. So I'm gonna chop it. Ooh. Okay, here we go. Watch this. I can't believe I just did that. So I got a nice big old cut there. I'm gonna let it callus for a little bit. I don't really know if I believe in that particularly, to be honest with you, but I wouldn't mind trying to get like this shit out of the sheaths before I pot it up, because that's rotting and disgusting. You can see all the flowers that it tried to bush out. Like, bruh. I might cut off a leaf because that's a lot to try and support for a new system. So this is what we got left. In the industry, this is what you would call a chonk. Roots for days, chonks for days, chonks for days. Definitely gonna have to go through these roots because anything that is coming off easy like that, that's all rot. We don't want that, that's for sure. Completely defeats the purpose of a fresh start. I don't have rhyme or reason to this. I'm just gonna chop it up into big old chunks. I think I want to try get, you see how it's got nodes and shit like that? I think I want to try and make sure I get nodes on there. I don't know what that is. That looks funky. Now my stem has always been funky. I've talked to people on the forums. You can see I got some damage here and it's kind of like rotted. And you can see in the stem there, it's a bit funky. So we might have some funky stem issues going on. We'll find out. We'll see. There's a big old, yeah, you can, so I'm not sure how viable those will be because you can see it's really gross there, but we'll see. The thing about plants is, it's just really science, isn't it? I've never dealt with chunks. Ooh, look at that. Like, as you can see, like half of my stem is literally rotted, and I don't know how this thing has just been living life and thriving. Look at this, that's disgusting. Ugh. I'm getting through it, that's for sure. Yeah, and now we're back into good healthy stem. So I think that was probably for the best, to be honest with you. Okay. This guy's ready to party. The way this one cut is kind of cool. You can kind of see where the roots want to come out. I just thought that was cool. So what I'm going to end up doing here is I'm going to clean up the roots on this. But essentially this piece is going to go directly back into the dirt. This is going to turn into a new plant. All those chunks should turn into plants. And then this guy is going to be another, well, his own plant again. So happy, healthy worm in here. He's just loving life. I noticed when I started using worm castings in my soil, I started getting lots of worms in there. So that's all right. They're healthy little friends. That's all right. But look at this. You can see all the roots that just melted off. That's disgusting. Ooh, a corn. You know how I feel about corns, boys. Tons of corns. I'm gonna be here hunting for a bit. All right, so I snipped off all of that. It's probably, 8 to 10 inches of root. And then this is what I'm left with on the main chunk. I think that's a decent enough root system for this big boy. They're healthy, they're happy. I'm gonna put him in a small ass pot and see where he takes off. This is an old sushi container. This is the lid that it used to be, and I actually just set plants on it. But I just realized I needed a humidity dome for my chunks. So I'm gonna fill this with dirt. I'm gonna put the chunks in and the fucking lid on. Bing, bang, boom, humidity. Here's the end result. It's a little bit ugly, but it's gonna work. Well, I did something I don't normally do, and I put it directly back into soil. I was gonna propagate with water and perlite, but I wanted to experiment. So I've got it in this pot. I don't know if it's big enough. I might have to do an upsize just because I don't know how stable it is in there. It's a little bit, wants to be a little bit top heavy, but I got a nice clear pot so I can assess root progress. Got it in my custom chunky mix. Gonna keep it moist for a while, and hopefully in a few days we'll be seeing some roots.